Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. I'm very upset this morning. Do not believe the hype about this Arctic frost hearing that unfolded yesterday and the outrage from senators, and they were spying on the Trump administration, and Susie Wiles in a conversation with her attorney that they literally eavesdropped on that conversation. So outside the bounds of law, I believe they need to be criminally prosecuted. But we're now expected to believe that this Senate hearing, that anything's going to come out of this. I don't want Senate hearings anymore. What I want is prosecutions. What I want is the DOJ to go after these bad actors from inside the Biden DOJ, from inside the FBI, the Biden FBI. I want them to go after the Faucis, the Brennans, the Comeys, and every single bad actor that played a role in this, including these mid-level DOJ attorneys that went after every J6er. And yet we're going to have U.S. senators. And here's the thing, folks. If you want audio of them, find another outlet. I'm not playing them. I'm not going to give Republican senators the satisfaction of them trying to look tough in a Senate hearing when I don't want a Senate hearing. What I want is these bad actors under oath in front of a jury in a federal courtroom. I'm done with the Senate hearings. Now, why do I say this? I say this because they are going to come after us. If they win the midterms, God forbid they win the presidency 3 years from now, 2.5 years from now, we're screwed. They will do exactly what they say they will do. So what I'm going to do today is, instead of playing Republicans who want us to think they're all so great, which they're not right now. Now, let me say this. I'm not some dope who turns on President Trump, okay? The last thing I'm ever going to do is turn on President Trump or turn on MAGA. Am I upset the DOJ is not having prosecutions come out? Absolutely. But I'm not turning on President Trump. It's the most stupidest thing you could possibly do. I will call out Republicans in the Senate, but doesn't mean that I'm not going to vote for Republicans. Now, I'd prefer to vote for MAGA conservatives, America First conservatives, Trump-loving conservatives, Freedom Caucus conservatives, 100%. But if it comes down to a Democrat or a Republican, I'm voting for the Republican every time. So don't think I'm going to just throw everything out. This is how dumb these finicky conservatives are. And quite frankly, I'm fed up with all of them. President Trump is doing do you know what this man has on his plate? Oh, he broke his promise to us. Oh, shut up. You know what he's doing up there? Now, has everything been carried out that we want carried out? No. But that is not on President Trump. That is on the people underneath him, and specifically those in Congress. So I'm going to call some of them out. And I'm certainly going to show you why I believe what I believe when I tell you they will stop at nothing from putting us in jail or, quite frankly, like they did to my buddy Charlie Kirk, kill us. Ultimately, that's really what they want. It's a sad reality. So with that, let's get the show started. Before we do, though, let me tell you about my friends over at VRAinsider.com. That's VRAinsider.com. This is about perspective in the market. This is about a portfolio of 10 to 15 positions. Do you know the average hold time is about a year? Anywhere from a few months to years. You hold these positions. You double down on these positions. And in the end, VRA Insider, Vertical Research Advisory, just from their newsletter alone, they're an advisory service, not an investment bank. They're returning 35% on your money. So I have allocated a sizable portion of my investments to the VRA system. I urge you to try it out too. VRAinsider.com, VRAinsider.com. Investing comes with risk. We all know that. But go with a company that has a track record. Beating the markets 19 out of 22 years, 35% last year, 50% on the money the year before. VRAinsider.com. That's VRAinsider.com. And check this out. You get a 2-week free trial where you get access to everything, the back end, the position. So you get to try this out before you spend a dime. VRAinsider.com. Get that 2-week free trial. Try it out today, VRAinsider.com. With that, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, folks, welcome. As you can tell, I'm fired up this morning. I'm fired up because we got a lot of grandstanding. Think about what happened in Washington over the last 2 weeks. We had members of Congress, specifically the United States Senate, and yes, the Senate is part of Congress, specifically the United States Senate, waste days upon days trying to conduct a talking filibuster that wasn't actually a talking filibuster, wasting time, only to come up with a proposed deal for the Democrats that says, okay, we'll fund all of DHS except the enforcement operations, the removal operations of ICE. I would normally be outraged by this, except for the fact that the removal operations of ICE is already funded for another 2 years. So it doesn't matter. So Democrats, if they vote for this deal, will then be saying, okay, we're going to vote for this. We're not going to fund it, even though it's already funded, wink, wink. And Republicans can say, it's already funded, wink, wink, so we got what we want. And literally, we just wasted weeks. TSA agents going unpaid. Other employees inside DHS going unpaid. These lawmakers in Washington could give a rat's ass about those people. This is about self-interest over national interest. It's about making them look good. And here's the thing with a guy like John Thune, who I'm done with, by the way. He also now wants to say DHS spending, we can go through, the Save America Act, we can go through reconciliation. This is what I proposed weeks ago. It's what John Kennedy, the senator from Louisiana, proposed weeks ago. And we were told we were fools for proposing something like this. So now all of a sudden, he says, yeah, we can go with reconciliation. Now all of a sudden, they can come up with a deal with DHS spending after wasting all of this time. It's an outrage. It really is. And people ought to be screaming and yelling. John Thune has no idea what the base wants. He thinks, oh, well, we'll stand up there and we'll talk and we'll make the Democrats. We already know how the Democrats feel. I don't need to hear Alyssa Slotkin talking about how the Save America Act is going to disenfranchise voters. And I don't need to hear her. I already know how she feels. That's not appeasing the base. It's not appealing to the base. What we want are wins. We don't care how you get there. Just get there. But we're not winning at anything. Quite frankly, the whole thing is a joke. So now we've got this potential deal. Good, get them paid, move on down the road. Save America Act. The Democrats are never going to vote for this. It's not going to happen. So we now have, we're going to do it through reconciliation. Well, again, John Kennedy said we could do that weeks ago. I said it's the last resort, but it can be done. President Trump, on the other hand, for all of you idiots who are so mad at President Trump, he's the one saying stand firm. Don't make a deal. He said, I got you. Look at TSA lines. He sends ICE in to the airports, Atlanta, which was the worst. Let me explain why Atlanta was the worst. Because the mainstream media focuses on Atlanta because, you ready for this? It's one of the largest airports in the country, and screening goes through one location. That's why it bottlenecks. There's one location for screening at Atlanta Airport. Think about where I fly out of, Dallas Fort Worth International. You have Terminal A, B, C, D, and E. There's 5 terminals that all have multiple security checkpoints for screening. It doesn't bottleneck at DFW. It bottlenecks at Atlanta. So it's already, in a bad spot. But anyway, he sends ICE agents in, and guess what? All the lines, Tuesday, disappeared. Democrats hate this. So stop criticizing President Trump. Stop talking about all the other nonsense. And let's get back to the basics of making America great again. Support him. Hold people accountable that need to be held accountable. Like rhino Republicans in name only, like Democrats. Instead, we're so focused on arguing with each other and calling out each other. You know why they do it? You know why Candace is going after this one, and this one's going after Bongino, and this one's going after Ben Shapiro, and this one goes at, and they all go after each other. Would you knock it off, for crying out loud? We have bigger enemies than those people. Why do they do it? Please don't be upset with me when I say this, because many of you eat up all of the controversy and the clicks. And, you know, quite frankly, it's why my videos get 40,000 views, not 2 million views, because I refuse to engage in it. If I engaged in it, I'm telling you, we'd be through the roof. Oh, I could bring the fight if I wanted to bring the fight to Republicans, like my fellow influencers, commentators, whatever you call us. I can bring the fight, but I'm not doing that. I have more important enemies to fight. I don't need to fight Candace Owens. I don't need to fight Tucker Carlson, even though I don't agree with what they're saying. But they're not on my radar, okay? You know what's on my radar right now? Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, John Thune. John Thune may be at the top of the list on my radar. On the top of my radar right now, holy warriors in the United States that want to do us tremendous damage, like kill us. My focus is on people like Hakeem Jeffries and J.B. Pritzker. You watch. J.B. Pritzker is going to want to run for president. You watch. He's the governor of Illinois. He's coming out with a bunch of crazy, crazy, crazy ass stuff. And you watch. Pritzker's going to run for president. So here's the real reality. They want to punish us, the Democrats. And they will stop at nothing at doing it, yet we don't do anything for them. We have hearings in D.C. and nothing ever happens. Where are the prosecutions? They will bring prosecutions against us. How do I know it? They did it. Peter Navarro, Roger Stone, President Trump, Christina Bobb, Rudy Giuliani, my buddy John Eastman. I could go on and on and on. And every J6er. They will sick the prosecutors on us from a local level all the way to the DOJ building in Washington. And yet we sit on our asses and let these people run free. To me, that's where I'm upset. And I will say this. A lot of people criticizing Kash Patel. I think Kash Patel's hands are tied. You can't have these investigations unless it comes out of the DOJ. And so unless it comes out of the DOJ, what is Kash Patel supposed to do? So we shall see. All right, I'm going to play for you the clips of this craziness that the Democrats basically offering up their plan for us in just a minute. Before I do that, though, I want to tell you about my friends over at lostsoldier.com. This is an opportunity to get involved with an oil and gas project, really a gas project, 40,000 acres of natural gas, stacked formations, high-pressure gas. The geologists already know it's there. They've secured 40,000 acres to basically create one federal unit, a lease. So now you don't have all different pieces you got to put together. It's like a dream come true for a gas producer. So this is Lost Soldier Oil and Gas, the company that's done this long history of success. I want you to go to lostsoldier.com. We're going to do a webinar on Monday. You can sign up for that webinar. Click the Invest Now button on the website. You can sign up for the webinar, and I'm going to be moderating that with Mark Bruner, the CEO, who's had tremendous success with so many other companies. The tax advantages of this are wild. The Big Beautiful Bill created a deal that's unbelievable with the tax advantages. 100% tax deductible year one of your investment. So I want you to consider this. LostSoldier.com. It's an opportunity that you don't have to be part of a billion-dollar family office or a Wall Street investment firm. An everyday guy can get involved with this. You have to be an accredited investor. But, the little guy The little guys are somewhat bigger than the real little guys, but the little guy can get involved in this project, and I'm excited about it. LostSoldier.com, that's LostSoldier.com. All right, I told you about J.B. Pritzker. You don't think they're coming for us? Listen.
When we get a new one, the people in this administration who've broken the law and federal agents who've broken the law need to be held accountable.
And that means criminally prosecuted.
Criminally prosecuted, civilly prosecuted, whatever it is that we can do, right? It may be that you can't criminally prosecute somebody, but that you can go after them civilly.
Anybody but federal agents now, too. You're going to go after law enforcement who are literally upholding the laws on the books that Congress passed. They've done nothing illegal, and you're going to hold them criminally accountable for what, J.B. Pritzker? You know, ultimately what he's trying to do is he's trying to scare people into not going into law enforcement. He wants to scare people into going into another career. The fewer law enforcement officers they have on the streets, the less safe America is, and the more reliant you are on people like Pritzker. That's their twisted mentality. The reality is the American people have realized that doesn't work. The chaos bringing the Democrats doesn't work. Right now, we have the lowest murder rate in America. I heard Stephen Miller say in 125 years. What's that due to? President Trump enforcing the law, FBI agents making more arrests than they ever have. Maybe not the arrest we want to see when it comes to prosecuting those bad actors that went after us, but more arrests than ever before. And the big one, illegal aliens, specifically violent ones, taken off the streets. These are the ones that are committing violent crimes over and over and over again. They get taken off the streets and either put in jail or deported. They can't commit murder in America if they're not in America or if they're not on the street. Here's J.B. Pritzker again.
Don't think you get to just walk away. I guarantee you, you will still be held accountable.
Funniest thing would be if they deport her to El Salvador.
I just want to say with absolute certainty, she is a domestic terrorist who deserves to go to Gitmo.
I mean, there have been dozens of injuries and deaths under her leadership of ICE.
You know who they're talking about there? Kristi Noem. So they're now saying go after her, prosecute her. She's not even the secretary anymore. They're going to go find her, drag her into all of this. She wasn't a horrible secretary. She got a bad rap. Did she dress up in a Halloween costume a little too often for my liking? Yes. She's a little too into the image? Yes, but she's a pretty lady. So pretty ladies are into their image. All right. I move on from that. For the most part, everything else I was fine with. So now Mark Wayne Mullen will go in and he'll do a great job. I'm sure of it. But these people are coming for us. Why are we not going for them? Hakeem.
Corrupt sycophants within the Trump administration, including but not limited to within the Department of Justice. Now, these people don't have immunity. And the reality is the statute of limitations is 5 years, and there will be accountability with the next administration, if not before, when Democrats take back control of the House of Representatives.
Oh, really? What kind of accountability are you talking about? Again, hauled into court. They're not talking about congressional hearings, folks. That's what we do. That's a Republican thing. Let's hold a hearing on it. I'm a member of Congress, and I'm important. So I'm going to hold a hearing, and I'll get to the bottom of all this. Okay. So you get to the bottom of all of it, like we had in the Arctic Frost hearing yesterday. They spied on President Trump's chief of staff and her lawyer before he was president. They spied on members of Congress, got their phone records. Okay, we got to the bottom of it. Way to go. We already knew it was happening. We may have gotten some details, but we already knew. I don't need Congress to get to the bottom of it. I need a prosecutor to take it to a grand jury and get an indictment. And then I need a jury to get a conviction. So when you talk about the MAGA base and, oh, there's a splintering. By the way, there's not a splintering. I would put it at 10% of the MAGA base the finicky crowd, the crowd that if it's just not right, they're going to go the other way. The crowd that it's Goldilocks. My porridge is too cold. It's too hot. My pillow's too soft. It's too hard. It can never be right to these people. That 10%, yeah, we have an issue with that. It's a big number, but it's not the entire bag of base. Not by a long shot. What happens on Twitter is not real life. Only the most crazy are on Twitter, okay? I know many of you are. I am too. And in some respects, we're a little crazy, aren't we? Yes. You're here every day with me. You got to be a little crazy to do that. No, you don't. Sanity being here every day. But you get my point. Twitter is not real life. Twitter is not your neighbor walking down the street. So the MAGA base is not fractured. 10%, the finicky crowd. You do one thing wrong. I'm telling you, I did a post. I supported Israel. I lost about 1,000 followers. Come on. We can't disagree. Like, okay, Stinchfield likes Israel. We don't like Israel. Here's why. Can we debate? Okay, well, I'm sorry. Okay, well, I say we do some checks and balances on the money. I don't want to just give them unfettered access to everything. I certainly don't want to do their bidding, but they're an important area to keep peace in the Middle East. It's like one stable entity there. But, oh, if we disagree, you're never going to watch me again? When we agree on everything else? Do you understand that's finicky and that's hypocrisy? Free speech, differences. I welcome dissent. You have dissent with me, send me an email. You go to my website, grantstinchfield.com. The email's right there. I respond to most of them. I try to. I love dissent, but not the finicky crowd. You think there's dissent with these people? Alyssa Slotkin, Senator, there's not dissent among their party. They are 100% unified that they want us in orange jumpsuits and handcuffs.
We need to hold Donald Trump accountable for running on lowering your costs and doing nothing but the opposite. That is our mission. And the way that we're going to do that is by bringing up a new generation of elected leaders who aren't afraid to fight, who aren't afraid of their own shadows, who aren't afraid that somehow disrupting things is going to rock the boat.
Well, sounds like those are the types of conservatives I want. I certainly don't want those people as leftists going into Washington. They'd be dangerous. Unafraid, going to do whatever it takes, ready to fight. This is what I want from our leaders. They actually get it. Man, oh man, they are fighters. They're scrappers now. They're dumb. Their policies are based in idiocy. And even more than idiocy, it's just do the opposite of Trump. We've talked about this before. I don't need to get back into it. But that literally is everything to them. Just do the opposite of Trump. We must be anti-Trump. Again, I'll say it. Iran is the best example, right? Because no one can argue that a debilitated Iran and Iran with its military basically destroyed is a good thing and makes the world safer. No one can argue that. But the Democrats today will not even admit that. Oh, it's a chaos. It's going to be fine. Whatever you want to say, it's chaos. Are we in a better position now with Iran than we were before? How do you argue no? You can't. But they will. They will, and they'll focus on the big picture. And again, the big picture, leg irons, handcuffs, concrete walls, and iron bars. That's the big picture. And I would imagine yours truly is on that list. Fine. I say fine. I don't want to go to prison, okay? Especially since I didn't do anything wrong or illegal. I don't want to go to prison, which is why I think we really need to come together and elect firebrand America First conservatives into the Senate and Congress this midterms and make sure we hold the White House next time around. Because this is the guy coming for us.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us. But implicit in it should be the idea that if and when we come back to power, and we will, we are not going to look kindly upon people who facilitated to use a word of the day, who facilitated authoritarianism in our country.
Okay. Did I facilitate authoritarianism in our country? No. In fact, I'm pushing back against it. The Democrats are unbelievable at projection. When you think of fascism, it used to be a Hitler-style right. But when I see the definition of a fascist, it really makes me think of what the left is doing today. So fascism, now this is Google's AI, right? So it's gonna bring the heat to Republicans. So it starts out with fascism is an extreme right-wing, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology that emerged in the 20th century Europe. Now, here's where I think it mimics Democrats. It emphasizes a dictatorial leader. That was Obama, not Trump. Everybody wants to claim that Trump is a dictator. If he was a dictator, wouldn't we have a lot more done? Nobody's listening to him in Washington. What kind of dictator is that? A centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. Now, do they think illegal aliens are the opposition? Yes, we have forcible suppression of them. But think about what the left did to us with the forcible suppression of our speech. They arrested J6ers, threw them in prison. Same thing with political foes. They knew that our power stemmed from our words, so they shut our words down on every level. That's fascism. A dictator figure like Obama running forcible suppression against the people, specifically through stopping speech, and the subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation. That's property rights. And what do you think the left has been doing? Taking away property rights, fundamentally taking them away. If there's any side that is a fascist, it is the left, not the right. So I'm telling you, if you don't think they're coming for us, you're wrong. President Trump agrees.
You got to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms, it's just going to be, they'll find a reason to impeach me. I'll get impeached. We don't impeach them. You know why? Because they're meaner than we are. We should have impeached Joe Biden for 100 different things.
They are. They are meaner. They are evil people. I believe Democrat leadership spawned from the devil themselves. They have no, when I say they have no backbone or spine, meaning their philosophies politically will wave in the wind. But once they settle on anti-Trump, they lock down on it. So they have a spine when it comes to anti-Trump. But I promise you, if Trump wanted to open the borders up, the Democrats would be closed borders. If Trump wanted to defund the police, the Democrats would defund the police. I almost think we need to pull some kind of a rope-a-dope move on them. But this is where we're at. Susan Rice, the architect of the dictator Barack Obama.
If these corporations think that the Democrats, when they come back in power, are going to, play by the old rules and say, oh, never mind, we'll forgive you for all the people you fired, all the policies and principles you've violated, all, the laws you've skirted. I think they've got another thing coming.
They'll go back to the old rules of power, which is the rules of power under Biden and Obama, which means nobody who embraces freedom is safe. I can't help but notice Republicans are put together. When they do a shot for TV, a podcast, they're put together. Look at the mess in her room. This tells you everything you need to know about a Democrat. Look at the shit in the background. The boxes piled up. She's got stupid things on the wall that don't make any sense. It looks like a college dorm room. She's a grown woman. Amazon boxes. That's your backdrop for a podcast? It's like no self-respect whatsoever. If they can't keep their house clean, how are they going to keep a nation clean? They're not. Which is why I despise these people. I really do. Is it bad of me to say I hate Democrats? I hate them. But you shouldn't hate anybody. My mom is in my head saying, Grant, don't hate anybody. And I told you, my mom, who is a New York liberal, taught me everything I know about conservatism. She told me not to be affected by others, make my own decisions, stand up on my own 2 feet, don't wait for somebody to help me. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. These are all lessons that my mom taught me. Nobody can make you do anything. That was her number one lesson. I punched my sister in the arm. She says, why'd you punch her? I said, well, she spit on me. She made me do it. Nobody can make you do anything. Don't punch your sister in the arm. Well, apparently she believes the government can make people do things like get vaccinated. But her original core was nobody can make you do anything. So that doesn't make any sense. But I still believe in this stuff. All of these fundamental principles. Democrats don't have any of them. Democrats' fundamental principle. You ready? Government knows better than you. When you're in trouble, we'll try to get government to rescue you. I don't even think they'll say government will rescue you because they know it can't now. We'll try to get government to rescue you. Government knows best. We'll rescue you if we screw up. That's not a philosophy I want to live by. I'm grateful to my mother for teaching me, hey, you can do anything you want. You get fired, you go find your own way. Go make some money. That was literally what she taught me. My father, too. Sky's the limit. Too bad Democrat leaders don't think like this. This is why I despise them. But my mom would say, don't hate anybody. Don't let them have that power over you. Think about it. A liberal telling me not to let someone have power over me. Well, that's the fundamental philosophy of a liberal, is that government has power over you. But here's my mom, a liberal, teaching me nobody has power over me. I am my own man. Amen. And I am. And I'm grateful to her for those lessons. I really am. They were fabulous, fabulous lessons. I did have a great mom. She asked me where I got raised. I asked her, where do you come up with these wild things you come up with when everything you taught me is the complete opposite of what you believe in now? I think she's brainwashed. Here, I'm going to ruin it. If she ever watched this segment, it would have been a nice segment for her, but then I'm going to ruin it by saying I think she's brainwashed. It's just like the New York way. It's kind of sad, man. It really is. Very, very sad. All right, hey, you know what's not sad? Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. This is a conservative activist organization. I'm going to be going out to CPAC here in just a little bit up in Grapevine at the Gaylord Texan. I'm sure I'm going to see my friends at Patriot Mobile. They support gatherings like CPAC, NRA annual meetings, Turning Point USA, Real America's Voice, you name it. These guys are on the front line. So you know a portion of the money you pay for your cell phone service is going to help America. So this is why I say stop funding the woke left through Verizon and AT&T. You can still be on one of those networks. Patriot Mobile has access to the 3 big national networks. You choose it. 100% U.S.-based customer service. Switching takes literally minutes. That's it. They'll buy your contract out, so you have nothing to lose there. 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT. Tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service. And again, the website is patriotmobile.com/Grant. Please make the switch today. Okay. Now I want to turn to another aspect of Democrats making me very upset. And that's this story of Sheridan Gorman. Why would this illegal alien from Venezuela kill a college girl from Loyola in Chicago like this?
An Venezuelan migrant has reportedly been arrested in connection to the shooting death of an 18-year-old college student in Chicago. Chanley Painter joins us now with developing details. Hey, Chanley.
Hey, Charlie. So 18-year-old Sheridan Gorman was shot early Thursday morning while out on a walk with her friends near her college campus. And now police reportedly have the man responsible. That, according to the Chicago Tribune, reporting that police have arrested a 25-year-old man. Fox News Digital adding this, quote, the Tribune said it had obtained the arrest report and was not naming the suspect, who sources tell Fox News is a migrant from Venezuela. Witnesses of the shooting say the masked suspect fired one shot towards Gorman's group, killing her. The Tribune also reporting that the suspect was ID'd minutes later in videos due to his, quote, distinct limp. This all comes as Gorman's hometown of Yorktown, New York, shows support for her grieving family. Assemblyman Matt Slater saying, quote, people are popping green lights on just to let the Gormans know that we're all here for them and we're here for Sheridan, and just our hearts are broken for them all. The green representing Yorktown's school colors where Gorman graduated high school. Now the family of the college freshman is speaking out saying, quote, Sheridan was our daughter, our sister, and the heart of our family. Whether it was her friends, her family, or someone she had just met, Sheridan had a way of leaving people better than she found them. Police have yet to confirm the arrest and any further details in this investigation so far.
All right. So the arrest has been made, illegal from Venezuela. And I will offer you this up. I hate people who victim shame. Now, with that said, there are certain things you need to do and take precautions to ensure you're not a victim. That's not victim shaming. That's trying to prevent another event like this from happening. The best way to not be a victim is keep yourself away from bad people. So that means being aware of your surroundings. Out at 3 o'clock in the morning in Chicago, a very dangerous city, is not a great idea. Doesn't mean it's her fault that she was shot by any means. Doesn't take away the culpability, but take yourself out of the dangerous situations and you're going to be in a better spot. So ladies, if you're out there in college, you keep your drink with you at all times, okay? You do not leave your drink with friends. You cover your drink with your hand at all times. I do not want anyone getting drugged, ultimately date raped. Do not go home with somebody you don't know. I mean, I know everybody has one-night stands. There's a lot of it happening out there. But you do that, you increase the risk of something really bad happening. Do not do that. Stay in groups. Sadly, she was in a group. I will also say nothing good happens after midnight. I can't tell kids not to go out after midnight, but be smart about where you are. That's not victim shaming. You want to know what victim shaming is? Or even worse, making excuses for the violent criminal. That is unacceptable. That's what Democrats do. Make excuses for violent criminals. This woman is an older woman in Chicago, city council, basically. Listen to what she says.
From what I've been told so far, right, from what police know, from speaking to the students who were with her, it seems she might have, that as they were just out, you know, people go out to the beach all the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally.
Wrong place, wrong time? Startled the person who had a gun unintentionally, so that person shoots and kills a young woman because he got startled? No. There is no excuse for this whatsoever. No excuse. Now, I carry a firearm everywhere I go. Okay, when I'm in Texas. When I travel, I can't always have a firearm with me because I'm not allowed. But in Texas, everywhere I go, if you know me, unless I go to the Mavericks game because I can't get a firearm into the American Airlines Center. But everybody that knows me knows Stinchfield always has a gun on him. Oftentimes, I have it on me in my house. I forget it's on my hip. I'll fall asleep on the couch. Saturday, I was power washing my pool deck, and then ultimately outside my front walkway, I was power washing it. Power washer's going. My head is down. I'm doing it inch by inch. Guy walks up to me with a package, scared the freaking crap out of me. I jumped. I looked up and jumped. Was I aware of my surroundings? Nope. I like to talk tough about always be aware of your surroundings. This guy could have killed me, could have shanked me, he could have done anything. I had that power washer going. I'm looking at my little inch, getting that so clean. There he is. You think I drew down on him? No, I didn't. Just because someone startles you doesn't mean you shoot them in the head. I realized I did OODA loop. Observe, orient, decide, act. Even on your front step. Scared. Observe. There's a man. Where am I? I'm at my house. He's got a package in his hand. Decide. I think this guy's a delivery guy. Act. I'm not pulling my firearm. I'm shutting off the power washer and taking the package. Observe, orient, decide, act. Now, that all happened in a split second, less than. But I went through that whole method in my head. Now, if you don't do that, startle, scared, pull gun, shoot, that makes no sense. And if you're someone who's that antsy and jumpy and you can't do an OODA loop process, you shouldn't be carrying a firearm. Which is why do not make excuses for an illegal alien thug carrying an illegal firearm, not allowed to be carrying, shooting a girl. I understood he chased her down and shot her. That's someone who's startled.
But that's all we know. So it from what I've been told, what police investigation has turned up so far, what they've been able to share with me and with Loyola University, we don't believe there is cause for broader community concern.
Not cause for broader community concern. This is the prime example of what's wrong with Chicago. Oh, yeah, the guy's arrested. You don't have concern that he's going to do it again because now the feds are involved. They're not going to let him out of sight. The cause for broader community concern is you've made Chicago a sanctuary city. Everywhere people go, you may run into a Jose Medina. Everywhere. So that's the broader concern, is that there's more illegals willing to shoot American citizens on the streets of Chicago. And I guarantee you it will happen again. Here's my friend Mehek Cook on Fox News. She was one of Trump's lawyers. She's a great conservative mind.
Heck, I feel so awful for the families over there in Chicago. You know that you send a child off to school, you hope and expect that they will grow into great productive adults, and to have her life taken away in such a devastating way is just unimaginable.
Kevin, you're right. Look, I'm a mother. This is unfathomable to think that you're sending your child to college. Sheridan cannot be a statistic. She is somebody's entire world, and the mayor and the governor owe her real answers. What's the hardest part about this is Chicago's been under Democrat leadership for nearly a century. You had Mayor Johnson run on defunding the police. Same with Governor Pritzker. In fact, Governor Pritzker could be calling a public safety emergency as we continue to look for a suspect so that our college students and citizens in Chicago are safe, but they continue to play with fire, which is politics and people's lives, rather than doing what's right. This is the most liberal city, and I have to tell parents today, start looking not only at the colleges, but at the leadership, because that is telling on if your children will be safe. It is so crushing to watch something like this happen to a girl that was from New York that had her whole life ahead of her. But this is all because of Democrat policies. Most parents think progressive means freedom, opportunity, safety. It's the exact opposite. And we're going to continue to see lives lost because Democrats aren't changing their tune. So parents need to get to the driver's seat and start driving with their children and studying where they're sending them and what cities and policies are in place.
I think so.
I think that's true. Look, again, not victim shaming, but what I'm telling you is you have to be your own personal protection detail. When the Secret Service moves the president, what do? They do an advance site visit. They make sure where the president is going is going to be safe? And if it's not safe, how can they secure it? You need to be doing this with not only yourselves, but your children. You're going to a restaurant. I'm not saying you go to the restaurant first, but as soon as you walk in, your advanced site visit is where are the exits? Where is there cover if I need cover in that restaurant? What is my escape route if someone was to come through the door and start doing something crazy? All of this stuff needs to be planned. You go into a movie theater. Where am I going to sit that's close to an exit? Or if a shooter was to come into a movie theater, where am I going to be the last person he is able to shoot at? And in my case, when I'm in Texas, and I'm going to tell you, whether the movie theater likes it or not, I'm carrying my firearm. Remember, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried out by 12. So I'm carrying. So I assess the movie theater. If a shooter came in here, where would they come in from? Who's the first people they'd be shooting at? Where's my exit? Can I get out? Can I get a shot off? What do I do with my son who's with me? My son knows, even though he's 6'2", 250 pounds now, my son knows you have to get away from me if I pull my firearm. Because if I start firing, I'm going to be taking fire back. I don't want my kid. You don't put him behind you. That's the worst thing. He'll be right in the line of fire. Get your loved ones away from you. Then as you're firing, you're taking fire away from them towards you. All of these things need to be thought out. Where are your kids going to go to college? What's the city like? Where are we going to keep the car? How are they going to get to and from the car when they're walking to school? What if they come home late? Is it safe? Is there security on campus? Is there a doorman in the dorm? You know, most dorms don't have a doorman. You don't need one if you live in Norman, Oklahoma, for the most part. But if you live at NYU in the middle of Greenwich Village, you ought to have a doorman that acts as security. Is there one? All of these things need to be assessed when you send your kid off to college. And honestly, you send your kid to a city like Chicago. I'm not saying don't send your kid to a city like Chicago, because in the end, nobody should get to decide where we go or when we go there. But you've got to think about, is it safe? You know, LSU is another example. LSU is not in a great neighborhood. Would I send my kid to LSU? Probably. But it's not in a great spot. A lot of colleges like this. Yale. Yeah, New Haven's awful, by the way. Would I send my kid to Yale? No, because they'd be subjected to ridiculous indoctrination. Though I will say this, I mentioned the word Yale. You don't hear a lot about Yale. It was always Harvard and Columbia and some of these other schools. Yale, I didn't hear a ton of with the crazy wokeness, but I'm sure they're crazy woke. No doubt about that. So I would just like to say this. Please say a prayer for Sheridan Gorman. May her soul rest in peace. Say a prayer for her family and friends who are dealing with tremendous grief right now. And pray that this doesn't happen to somebody else. It will, but pray it doesn't. Prayers are strong, and they work. All right, hey, let me tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company. TWC.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. Folks, I have been so hot on this parasite cleanse. I am telling you, if you haven't gone through one, you need to. Parasites in America are thriving. Over 100 million Americans, by some accounts, have parasites. Look at that, a parasite in the freaking fish at the grocery store. We have big problems. This mebendazole and ivermectin by the Wellness Company, I've gone through one course. It's enough for about 3 courses for the year. So it's expensive, but it's worth it. You get these parasites out of your system, mebendazole and ivermectin. And here's the even better part. There's a lot of belief that parasites play a role in cancer. This, I believe, is a cancer preventative. And I think everybody should go through one of these parasite cleanses at least once a year, probably twice. TWC.health/Grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. Get that parasite cleanse. And then so many other products from the Wellness Company. TWC.health/Grant. Use it today, and your family will be healthier and safer for it. All right. Where is this? Let me get this off the screen. I have too many things in my computer. All right. Hey, I want to tell you a little story before I let you go. I got to get to CPAC today. I don't know if many of you knew this, but I was the family spokesperson for Carolyn Bessette and Lauren Bessette, the two girls who died with JFK Jr. in that fatal plane crash. I grew up with the girls. I wasn't friends with the Kennedys. I didn't know. I had met John on a number of occasions because I was close with Carolyn. But I grew up with the girls. Their mom and dad, Ann and Dick Freeman, were very, very close friends and still are with my parents. When that crash happened, I was asked to give a statement on behalf of Lauren and Carolyn's mom and dad. And it was a very emotional time for us. I was working in Hartford in TV, and they were overwhelmed with media attention. As you can imagine, they still are. Well, now with all of these documentaries that have come out, I'm going to tell you, do not believe half of it, man. Do not. They are painting Carolyn out to be a woman that I didn't know. That is not her. This whole thing about how she was, they tried to make her crazy and drug infested and all. Not a case. She was the sweetest, kindest woman, one of them that I've ever met in my life. She made you feel like you were her best friend when she talked to you. So with everything happening, I gave this speech in Greenwich, 1999? I still get asked about it. Well, the Daily Mail asked me for a comment on all of this. And, I'll give you a comment. They may not like what I have to give them, but would you like to hear the comment I gave? And then here we'll play a game. We'll see if they post my comment. We'll see what they use in their article. Okay? Here's what I wrote. I know for Carolyn and Lauren's family, the pain from the tragic and very preventable deadly crash will never get any easier. I firmly believe John had no business flying that plane in those conditions, and I still have anger over his arrogance that cost my two friends their beautiful and promising young lives. For Lauren and Carolyn's family, every documentary, every article, and more importantly, every sensationalistic claim designed to garner clicks and likes at Carolyn's expense brings back the intense pain, sorrow, and anger they felt nearly 3 decades ago. Lisa and her parents, Lisa is the surviving sister. Lisa and her parents, Dick and Ann Freeman, have always been very private people. They are an amazing family. Over the years, I have been in awe of their ability to cope with the never-ending barrage of media coverage and the sadness that resurfaces with it. No parent or sister should be forced to endure that. I wish everyone would just let them live in peace, just as Lauren and Carolyn deserve to rest in peace too. Sadly, I don't think the ratings and click-thirsty media will ever let that happen. Now, does that sound like a Stinchfield quote? We bring the heat a little bit, yet I explain how much I love this family, and I'm so sorry to this day for it. Can you imagine being a mom and walking through the grocery store, you're just trying to get some bananas, and you see your daughter on the tabloids? I mean, every week, never ended. Over 30 years, you don't know what day Carolyn Bessette would be there on the tabloids of the grocery store. Brutal, man. Brutal. And so I feel for her mom and dad, which is Ann and Dick Freeman. Her dad, Bessette, was basically out of the picture since these girls were tiny, tiny, tiny children. And they're like an aunt and uncle to me, the mom and dad. Lisa, I have not seen in decades, the sister. And now they're focusing on her, too. Just leave her alone. She's a private person. Why are they going after her? Anyway, a lot of people didn't know that story. When I ran for Congress, they tried to use it against me, of all things, trying to say I was a Democrat because I gave a speech for family friends. I don't even know what their political persuasion is. I do. I tend to think they may lean left, but I have no idea what Carolyn's political persuasion was back in the day. I was well, when I was really close with her, we were kids, like kids. And then I actually always believed JFK Jr. actually had some conservatism in him. The magazine George wasn't all that bad. And, who knows? Quite frankly, I don't care. Lauren and Carolyn were good people. And I was devastated when that plane crashed. And JFK Jr., I'm still mad at him. He never should have been in that plane. He was arrogant to fly in that weather, and he got my friends killed. And quite frankly, I'll never really forgive him for that. Anyway, that's a little story. Here's my test. Check out the Daily Mail over the next few days, and let's see if they use any of my quote or what they use. Let's see if they use the quote to call out some of the mainstream media as well. I hope they do. Anyway, that, folks, is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for watching. God bless all of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Because of all of you, if you're going to be at CPAC, come by the Real America's Voice studio and say hi. I'd love to shake your hand, take a picture, whatever you guys want to do. Even just talk a little bit about the state of affairs. I'll see you at CPAC. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight. Stinchfield's Army rolls.